My name is Trish Hendon. This is my husband Nate, and we've been going to the Ridge for 18 months, 20 months, something like that. And I grew up in a Christian home. At a certain point, maybe in college, I had to make the decision that, is this faith going to be real? Is it going to be my faith, or is it just going to be my family's faith? And I'd say that's when I started really following God.
I was also lucky enough to grow up in a Christian home and grew up going to church anytime the doors were open. And for me, it's like Trish was, saying, it's kind of ups and downs of the Christian life, and being closer to God at times and other times not. For me, the big turning point was after I'd graduated from college, had a really good job, was making good money. Everything seemed to be going my way, but it was just kind of empty inside. Everything up to that point was kind of doing things Nate's way, and I was successful at doing it that way. And I think God, kind of was taking a back seat to all that, and it just got to a point where I just felt less and less fulfilled, just feeling kind of empty inside, and came to a breaking point. Really, I remember sitting in my parents' driveway one time. I was about to head back for the work week, and I just knew that I just couldn't keep doing things the way that I was doing them. It just wasn't working out. So that was the time I didn't have any more answers, and I just kind of gave it all back up to God and just said, hey, God, my plan isn't worth it anymore. And just kind of gave it to him to see, what he had for me.
Nate and I moved here, and I was pregnant. We had left Atlanta, where we had lived for the past 7 years, and someone suggested that we go to the Ridge, and we tried it out. We liked it, and we just decided we would stay. Over the next few months, getting involved in a Ridge group, I really began to see how awesome this church is and how much I really wanted to be a part of it. One of the problems with leaving Atlanta had been leaving behind our church, which we loved. And there was a moment right before the Crazy campaign started. In that moment, tears on my face, I went up and I told Mark about how hard it had been to leave our old church, and just the promise I felt I had from God, and how I was seeing it come true. And it was so exciting. And I think since that moment, it's just so exciting to be a part of the Ridge, to get to see people's lives change.
The people were real, and that's what, just really, resonated with us the most, is that, people were who they were. To have friends there, to support people, and just how, the Ridge was a family. Even as we've gotten bigger, there's still kind of that aspect of, taking care of each other and growing in Jesus. And that's what this was all about, and from the early church on, it's just really cool to see, people taking care of people and helping each other out, and just kind of growing and learning more about God and what he has in store for us. When we went through the Crazy, at the beginning, we went through some of the initial meetings, and we knew we're committed and we want to be a part of this. And we both were praying about it and what amount, we thought would make sense. We knew we wanted to stretch, and Trish had really felt it on her heart to go above and beyond what was a stretch number for us. And I just remember, just shaking my head on that, saying, I have no idea. But that was one thing that we just gave to God, and I said, you know what, God, this is truly going to be all you, because I have no idea.
And we're over halfway to what we committed to the Ridge. And that number that we thought was completely insane when we wrote it down on our little Crazy card. And so, God really showed up in almost like just this astronomical way. And so we kind of figure he showed up once, and given that God showed up so powerfully in our giving this last year, there's no reason to assume he can't do it again this year.
It was amazing, and all of that, being able to give right back to God. He's just faithful and providing throughout all of this. this.
It's been good for me to be reminded as I start to pull my hands back in with my money and hold it close to me that it does all come from God. And this studying generosity has been helpful for me in learning to let it go and give it back up to God. So like I said, I don't know what this next round of crazy holds for us, but it's just been really exciting to see God working in us, in our marriage, and especially at the Ridge, to see just people come in and learning about God and getting excited with us.
You know, you're seeing what God's doing, and you're seeing how He's already provided with what the Ridge has given to, you know, up to now, and you know what He has in store for us in the future, and the legacy that, you know, the Ridge is going to leave, you know, on our children and hopefully their children. It's really awesome to be part of that.